This is the Undisturbed podcast. Today we're going to welcome on Logan Allen, Cleveland Indians starting pitcher. I'm your host, Kyle Dangler. Logan was just traded over last trade deadline in 2019 from the San Diego Padres to the Cleveland Indians. Finished up the season with Cleveland, going into his first full season with Cleveland. If the season ever gets going, actually, so it's a tentative first season coming up for him fully with the Cleveland Indians. Going to be talking to him about everything about his career thus far, and then maybe take him in a little bit into what's been going on lately with the news. Just another guy, hearing another story from another organization, of how they've been dealing with it, and we're just gonna wait for the go signal to get started with them, and hope you all enjoy.
Reselling and hang out with your mom.
What's up, dude?
Logan, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Yeah, so, just welcome to the show, and, if you're ready to get going, so are we.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, first question I just wanted to ask you, I'm sure you've been, getting it a lot and dealing with it, but, the fact of, everything that's going on, how is, the Indians organization and yourself, taking it? We were just talking to, one of the closers for the Angels and, talking, texting with some other players from different organizations today. Everyone's kind of all over the place. What have you been doing? And, how are you, just dealing with it all?
It's good. If that closer was Ty Buttrey, that's one of my good friends.
We literally talked to him about an hour ago.
Yeah, it's my guy, one of my closest friends. He's awesome. We're handling it okay. It's definitely different. I'm still in Scottsdale. Fortunately, my girlfriend and her family were out here and were kind enough to let me kind of hang out as far as to figure all this stuff out. It's just weird, man. I got optioned about a week ago, or 5 days ago, and there's no explanation. They're like, look, we just have to option everybody. I can see you saw guys like Plesac and stuff got optioned today, and it really doesn't mean anything. It's just teams trying to protect themselves right now because we have no idea what's going to happen. Like, none. I'm working out in the front yard of a house. I'm walking lakes in Arizona because we just have no idea what to do. I'm honestly starting to go insane.
Just with, I've talked to Zach, off the air personally too. What's been going on with that? What is kind of the reason for, all the options that you mentioned? I saw that you got optioned, unfortunately, but I didn't see, with Zach. What do you think that has to do with, the kind of virus? Is that just, what is it protecting, essentially?
It protects the team, but it also protects...
Oh, you're talking about, their service time and everything?
Yeah, that's obviously a big question in there.
Okay.
The team will never say that.
No,
obviously, yeah. I had a pretty uphill battle as it was to potentially make that team. But we'll. It's also protecting the guys that can get hurt.
Yeah.
If I was to get hurt during this incident, like during the time off, and that means they'd have to give me all my service time and pay me, and I'd be on the team. Whereas. Yeah, it makes sense. You get what the teams are doing. Yeah. It's just a super confusing time.
Yeah. I'm sure they're just saying it's a business decision, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. But as far as what the MLB is going to do, we have no idea. I've been in touch with the union every day, our union reps, trying to figure out what is going to happen. And
it is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Manfred was on TV today, this morning, talking about it. And as much as I want to believe the guy when he said May 15th, we could get back at it as far as starting workouts and stuff, I think there's about a 5% chance of that happening. My personal opinion. So it's really hard to stay focused. It's easy to stay focused when you're thinking about the season in our normal off season, but right now it's hard to think about a date and a time and what's going to happen. You really don't know what to do as far as preparation wise, because you could be preparing to pitch soon, but chances are you're not.
Yeah, and just with the Indians organization, I wanted to ask you because I was supposed to talk to a buddy of mine about midday today, and I get a text from him saying how the Astros organization, how he had to pack up and leave the training facility because the whole county just got shut down today in Florida for them. I mean, for you guys, are you completely shut down out there? I know you mentioned you're gone, but I mean, everything out in Arizona kind of starting to shut down, and you're all going to have to start leaving the facilities, or is it kind of half and half with you guys staying and leaving?
So I was at the facility every day for the first few days.
Yeah.
That it was done. They had a certain amount of guys that could go in there. I unfortunately couldn't go back to North Carolina. I have a handicapped brother that's 24-hour nursing. So obviously with me being in and out of the house for workouts, I didn't want to
take the risk
him getting sick or anything. So I stayed out here and was going to work out at the facility. They gave me permission to do so. And then about 24 hours after we started working out, they came back again because there's been so many changes, probably every 6 hours was something new, a new rule, a new guideline they had to follow. And it went from 2 guys being able to work out in the weight room at once. Because, I mean, the first 2 days it was me and Shane Bieber in the weight room with our strength coaches, and that was it.
Wow.
And then the next guys that would come in, if they went in the weight room, the coaches would tell them to go wait in the locker room until we were done.
Yeah.
And they were doing 30-minute time slots. It was weird. So now I think it's closed completely to rehab guys. And even some of the rehab guys, I mean, Cleb was pretty much back, but he went back to Florida. He went back home, and I wish I could have gone back to Florida too, but I didn't take that however many day drive like they did. Decided to wait it out. I had faith it wasn't going to be as long as it's been. But as far as the places around Arizona, everything's been kind of normal, man. I mean, the restaurants are shut down and only doing takeout and stuff. But I mean, if you go out to Chaparral Park, people are walking the park. People are playing catch where a lot of us are going to play catch. Just all sorts of people are out.
Yeah.
And it's scary, but also it's a little optimistic being here in Arizona. The cases aren't as bad as some other places. I couldn't imagine being in New York right now. Obviously, to me, it looks like the Yankees and the Mets are going to have to find somewhere else to play.
It's not looking too good out here right now.
No, it's not. And that reminds me, I got to call Karen and check on him. He's a Northeast guy. So, it's too normal here in Arizona compared to what I'm hearing about everybody else. My parents are in North Carolina, and they said after 8 o'clock tonight they're on lockdown. They start the lockdown process as far as you can't leave the house unless you're going to the bank, at the grocery store, or the hospital. So, it's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seeing people at Costco wearing gloves, masks, people just. Yeah, insane. A lot of people freaking out.
Yeah, and for you, I just talked to you mentioned Ty before, and it's a little bit of a different process for him, just being a reliever, and it didn't seem like it would take him as long as per se a starter to get ready for the season, obviously, because he doesn't have to pitch as many pitches in a day or so. But for a guy like you, and for the starters. I mean, how long do you think it's going to take for you, once you're, able to, get back to live pitching and everything? Would you say it's going to take, the average starting pitcher to, get ready and, build up the stamina again, like you were in spring training to, start a regular season if there were to be one?
I wish I could tell you, because at this point, it's just try to stay as ready as I possibly can at all the time. For me, I'm going to have to keep throwing, keep finding ways to throw live BPs, or keep finding ways to, just stay as close as I possibly can, because obviously when I go in, I need to be able to throw 3 innings, be able to throw 4 innings pretty quickly, because we don't have that time.
Yeah. And for you, it's crazy just with everything going on in terms of, I know you mentioned, before, of the whole service time and everything. I mean, would you, I know there's something coming out, I think it was today, with the whole service time thing and, all the players getting paid if, there were to be no season. I mean, just with something like that, I mean, for there to be no season potentially, I mean, it's almost, I can't even believe I'm saying it. But, I mean, just how, kind of dimming would that be for you guys and kind of, striking in just the terms of, having to wait a whole another year to play. Even if you're getting your money at the same time, being gone for so long, I mean, how much do you think that would affect, everyone in the whole league?
Dude, people don't understand that this could have literally ended careers.
Yeah.
For certain guys. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to call any names or anything like that, but there's older guys and a bunch of organizations or non-roster invites that, this money that they were guaranteed with an opportunity could have been their last. Yep. Or if they didn't make an impression, this could have been when they hung them up.
Yeah, we've had some guys on the show that in those situations, non-roster invites who, needed this chance, and they were looking good too. It's really, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Honestly, like some guys are gonna have to hang them up because of this.
Yeah, I mean, and just for you, someone out there, obviously being one of the younger guys, just in terms of just getting your career, really kickstarted right now. I mean, what have you been hearing, from your teammates? I mean, obviously, keeping in touch with them. I mean, because, you're supposed to, start playing opening day today and everything and, have that team chemistry and, be bonding for, a month and a half now and, to all be disbanded, throughout the, entire state and, the entire country right now. I mean, how does that affect, the team chemistry and the team atmosphere in terms of, being all over the place and feeling probably like, it's the winter again?
Well, none of us knew this was going to happen. So this is literally like we're just walking to the field one day. We're getting ready to go out, and they're like, "Hey, sit down. We got a meeting." And we're like, "All right, what's going on?" They told us that. We're all like, "Man, when's the next time we're going to see each other?" Like this is nuts.
Yeah. And in terms of you pitching and everything, I know you mentioned. Like other pitchers have been doing, having to, find someone who can catch, trying to get live batters in and everything. It's crazy for you guys because in terms of, on one hand, you want to stay safe and, obviously, be in contact with the least amount of people as possible. But on the other side of things, you have to get your work in somehow and, that's going to involve at least a few different people. I mean, how's it going for you in terms of, finding that balance between, not being in too much contact with people, but also, realizing that, baseball is, your livelihood and your profession and, you're going to have to get in your work somehow through this time?
Oh, it's tough, especially with our resources for certain things. I mean, I will credit our training staff at Cleveland. They've given us a great opportunity. And they've given us a lot of the utensils and tools online to kind of figure out what we need to do to work out. As far as catchers and place to throw, I mean, that's the hard part, man. You're having to contact guys from other teams. Some guys aren't even in the area. Some guys aren't even in the state. I mean, it's tough. And the last thing you want to have to do is reach out to high schools and stuff who aren't even playing. Those kids are getting heartbroken because they can't play a senior season of high school, their first season of high school, college, all sorts of stuff, and find somewhere to throw. So, I mean, I'm looking at my setup right now. I'm in a backyard in Scottsdale, and I'm lucky enough to have over 60 feet, and I have a net that has a wall behind it.
All right. So
I can just throw into the net with the box of baseballs the Indians gave me, or throw weighted balls or whatever. Pull downs. I mean, I'm having to go through a program like I have nobody to throw in the off season. In the off season, I have a whole group of guys. I'm with Cliff, Plesac, Andrew Miller. I mean, loads of guys that I can play catch with, work out next to, motivate each other. I mean,
it sounds like you're at the point where you might have to, have your girlfriend put on the catcher's mask and, start catching.
Yeah, it's looking like that, huh? Bless her heart. She's her 5'4" little body has been as motivational towards me as it can when we're working out. But it's to a point where you're really having to dig deep to get your work in.
Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, just on a better note with everything, obviously, you don't want to, not talk about it, but at the same time, on a lighter note, I mean, coming into this season, getting your first experience at the pro level last year with the Padres and the Indians, I mean, all, circumstances set aside, what are you looking forward to most, going into your second season, in the major leagues, hopefully? I mean, is there anything that, you're trying to improve on? Obviously, you're trying to improve, but is there anything specific that, you've been looking forward to, showcasing, once you get back on the mound in professional when the time comes when you get the chance to pitch in the major leagues?
Yeah, I mean, last year when I was with San Diego, I had a lot of success early, a lot of success, and it was really nice. And it was one of those things where, baseball is a humbling game, and it's kind of a reality. Reality check was destined to happen, and happened quick. Happened against the Giants, happened against the Marlins, then it happened when I became a reliever with them when we had other starters that needed to be taken off the 60-day. And I started to see things that I didn't notice before about mechanics, about ways hitters were picking up things, tunneling. I started learning about the analytics side of things. And when I got traded, there were pitch profiles that I didn't realize that I had. And they helped me mechanically figure out what I need to do to be the best pitcher I possibly can. And I just felt like I started getting to the mechanics part of it correctly. And that was encouraging. It was one of those things where I was looking forward to being able to showcase the new mechanics, because I was able to throw that fastball up in the zone with a higher velocity and a higher rise off the ball. And I was able to throw that big breaking ball I had a lot harder. And to a point where it was a put-away pitch. It wasn't just to get me over. I was relying on the split change and the slider. And that was all I had relied on at that point. Yeah. And now I started relying on the power fastball up in the zone, curveball down the zone. And it was something that I'm able to showcase. And there was a point in spring training where I pitched, and I was like, wow, this is going to work. This is working against good hitters. I faced pretty much the starting lineup for the Angels.
Yeah.
And it was La Stella, Trout, Ohtani, Pujols, Upton, all their other. I mean, they got Rendon, dudes. And
they're stacked. Yeah.
And I was using my pitch profiles to get through that lineup like pretty easy. I mean, I don't want to say easy, but I was getting them out.
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments where you're like, wow, this is working. So like the stuff we've been working on, my arm had never felt better. Everything was coming out smooth. My mechanics were so much cleaner. I was excited. And it's something that I was improving on every time I went out through. And then when this happened, it was like, in one aspect, it was like, damn, this sucks. I was really close. But now I have a little bit more time to work on it so that when we do get back together, I'll be a lot more crisp. But I was just so looking forward to this year because my 2018 year was an incredible season. It was kind of the more pitchability spot I wanted to be in. And then my 2019 season to me was a letdown. Yes, I made it to the major leagues. That was an awesome goal. But, if I look back to last year, I might not have debuted if, a certain series with San Diego didn't go into the 16th inning 2 days in a row, or in Colorado. Like, there was instances where the team kind of had to call me up.
Yeah.
And if that didn't happen, would I be in the spot I'm at now? Probably not, because, the year I had wasn't incredible. I had my flashes of, wow, this guy's really good. And then there was those outings where I'd go out for 2 innings and get absolutely crushed. Yeah. Whereas in 2018, I was a dominant, like it was like every outing, 5, 6, 7. I was consistent. And this was the year that I wanted to get back to. This is the year I felt like I was getting back to that. I was consistently throwing strikes, filling up the zone. And, it's exciting, man. This was such a kick. This was such a kick between the legs when it came to the season being canceled. But we're so lucky to all be healthy, and as far as that is, and to at least be in a sport in a situation where people do care enough about our well-being as a country to take care of us. But it was definitely not something I was happy about right away.
Yeah. And in terms of, the on-the-field stuff last year, I know you mentioned, being a starter and then, having to transition into the reliever role, watching some of your games, especially with the Indians, being predominantly a reliever when you got the chance to go in. For you, I mean, was it something that was new to you, different? I mean, just, try to walk me through the process of what you were thinking to, be a reliever as opposed to, a full-time starter, which I'm sure you were probably more used to. I mean, was it something that, was easy to adapt to? I mean, did you struggle maybe mentally with it, having transition into, coming out of the bullpen rather than, knowing you were pitching a certain day?
I liked knowing I was pitching a certain day because I had 5 days to prepare, look through my lineup, this and that. As a reliever, my first time in relief was July 4th against the Dodgers.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys know this, but that team's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I didn't think we heard about them.
Yeah, well, my first hitter was Cody Bellinger.
All right.
Awesome dude off the field, incredible human being, great ball player, and he was my first hitter. And I say that because you prepare for those guys over 5 days, you find their weak spots, and you come out there with that intent. Not that I didn't have the intent, but when that phone rang in the bullpen and I had to go off a scouting report I got 4 hours prior to that for the first time.
It was more difficult, probably.
It was more difficult.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think of what pitch I want to throw him, this and that. I go out there and I threw 2 fastballs at 94 middle in by him. One he swung through, one he took for a strike. And I'm like, ooh, he knows the heater's coming here. I'm throwing him a slider. Well, I throw him a slider kind of low, down and out, and he hit it about a million feet. And to me, that was like one of those things where as a left-handed reliever, you got to get lefty down, man.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that. And if I looked at the report, it was don't let him get his hands extended. And after throwing 2 heaters by him at 94, I let him. I did exactly what I shouldn't have done. On a 5-day rotation, when I have more time to look through and really memorize a report, I don't make that mistake. I think that relievers are. I think being a reliever in baseball is tougher than being a starter because I've never done it up until this point. Not saying it is or isn't, but that was the hardest thing I had to do. I had to throw multiple days in a row. Then I had to throw in extra innings after throwing multiple days in a row. So I think I was 3 out of 5 days or 3 out of 4 days I'd pitched. And it wasn't because the team was dogging me or wearing me out. I wanted the ball. That was not – I wanted the ball as many times as I could get it. But the extra innings against Pablo Sandoval, I did the same thing. I threw him a heater up when he's one of the best high ball hitters in baseball. Go ahead homer in the 11th after I just got 2 outs. When he was an 0-2 count, I could have thrown him anything low in the zone. Yeah. I probably could have thrown him a heater right down the middle. He would have swung through it. But I threw him a heater up in the zone, and that was one of his strengths. And he hit a homer. Those are those things that as a reliever, you don't make those mistakes. I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't prepared. But I was way better off having Kirby Yates and Craig Stammen and Trey Wingenter in the bullpen to kind of help me a little bit. It made the transition for me very comfortable because I had that confidence from them saying, hey, you can do this, you can do this.
Yeah, and I'm sure, they understood that, it was a learning process, for you to, understand, how to, start relieving in terms of not only pitching, but, understanding, like you said, maybe having not as much preparation and time to, understand all the hitters. I mean, is that something where, a few weeks in you started to, maybe understand, how to go about it more of a different way, like you mentioned some of the other guys, and really, learn from them and the aspect of making sure, you can go in any situation and, try to figure it out to the best of your ability?
Yeah, it's just hard, man.
Yeah.
Being a reliever is. I'm trying to think of a better way to explain it. I just wasn't. I mean, I was prepared. I had all the stuff. I had all the velo coming out of the pen. I was throwing harder. I had all the adrenaline.
I mean, is it something where you prefer, maybe being a starter, more consistently? If you had a preference.
My preference is whatever the team needs me to do, and that was something I wasn't ready for last year.
All right.
The way I approached last year when I got called up by the Indians was how I was going to approach this year. I was in Gwinnett. I was supposed to start the following day. I get a call at about 11 p.m. I'm already half asleep. Hey, you're getting called up. There's a doubleheader. or there was a doubleheader. They need a pitcher tomorrow. You're our only guy that can throw multiples. We're going to send you up, and you're going to treat it like a start day. And all right, so I went up there, and Shane Bieber was dealing, but there was some times where they thought they were going to just throw me in there, and we got the lead, and I sat, and they said I was gonna make the trip to New York with them, so I was just preparing to be a bullpen guy until they didn't need me, and then I wound up throwing the 7th, 8th, and 9th that day. I threw extremely well, but it was one of those things where you separate the what's going to happen next, and I just went out there and was like, okay, this is what the team needs. I'm going to do this. And I threw 3 really good innings, and that was that. That was what the team needed that day, and they sent me back down right after, and, that's what it was. And that was the mindset I needed to have with San Diego. And then as well, when I was relieving with San Diego, every time I didn't pitch well, I was like, oh, man, here it comes. I'm out of here. Here it comes. I'm out of here. Instead of realizing that I was 22 years old and I'm already in a ridiculous spot as a 22-year-old. I need to just shut my mouth, be happy I'm here, and just go out with a ball. Instead of being worried about getting sent down. That was my biggest regret from last year, was having to worry or fear that I was going to be sent back to the minor leagues and never make it back up, because that's not the case. I know how good of a pitcher I am, and other guys deal with the same thing. And but there was one thing I could have taken out of being a reliever, was just pitch in the moment. Stop worrying about other things, because that's why, in my opinion, I got hit.
Yeah. And, speaking of that and, everything on the field, I just wanted to ask you one more serious question before we kind of get to the last part of it. I just wanted to ask you from the mental side. I know we've talked a lot about the physical stuff, and, you touched on the mental stuff with the reliever stuff, but is there something that, maybe you do before a game or, before you go in the pitch to mentally, kind of, prepare for a high leverage situation or, for a start and, really understand and, just be in the moment, like you said?
Every pitcher has their own routine. I mean, for me, it's just being locked in on game day from the time I wake up. I don't mean locked in like a zombie. I just mean locked in as in just knowing what I'm doing that day, having a purpose.
You're prepared. Yeah.
Going to the field, being prepared, taking the day seriously. It doesn't mean I can't screw around with teammates sometimes, but on those days, you're not around playing cards. You're not screwing around during in the locker room. You're getting ready to do your job. I have pitched once every 5th day. That's my day. Like, I got to do my job.
Yeah.
Not that I don't work the other days, but like that's my main job that day. It's like, team needs to win. Go out there and do my thing. And then, just little cues here and there in the bullpen, pitching wise, I have in my head. And then when I'm out on the mound, it's just pitching with aggression, pitching with that competitive fire. Those are the only things I think of. I don't think about anything else except, like, doesn't matter who's at the plate. They're not better than me, and their ass is going back to the dugout. That is the only thing I think about every time I'm on the mound.
Awesome. Yeah, so, in terms of, the, more serious stuff that we've talked about, I just wanted to, wrap up with a few, short of, quick, rapid questions, and then, we'll let you go. For the first one, I just wanted to ask you, where's your favorite city to visit during the season, besides, the hometown?
Well, man, now I can say San Diego because I'm not there anymore. Yeah. That place was awesome. But, Miami was sick. I liked Miami as far as the hotel. The stadium, man, that stadium and those fans, they got to figure it out. That place is in too prime of a location for them not to have fans. It's sad. Me being in Tampa area in the off season, I like Tampa. I would have to say New York for me, man. I love the New York trip.
Do you preference Citi Field or Yankee Stadium a little bit, or either one good?
Either one, man. I played at both. It was cool. I just like the atmosphere of the city, man. Yeah. Even if it's cold, hot, rainy, I don't care. It's just a different feeling, man. You walk out of that hotel, get on the bus in New York, like,
it's going to be a pretty packed game.
You're going to play the Mets. You don't have to worry about there not being fans. And I would say probably those two in New York were great. I enjoyed Pittsburgh as far as the baseball atmosphere. I'm trying to think of my absolute. I don't have an absolute favorite. I mean, I didn't play in the best spots last year at Baltimore.
Yeah.
I love Cleveland as a city and it's an atmosphere. I told somebody the other day if I could sign a contract to be with the Indians for the rest of my career, I'd do it. And there's just something about Cleveland that
we got to make that happen then.
Yeah, you're telling me. If I could sign that, I'd do it. But as you can see, our jobs are in a little pickle right now.
And for you, not having the favorite, one favorite place, I wanted to ask you, is there one or two, favorite guys on the Indians that, you would say you're maybe a little bit closer to than the others?
Yeah, I'd probably say I've probably been the closest to Clevenger and Plesac as far as getting to know, been with them for a couple of years and being around them. Clevenger especially, kind of like an older brother that you want to like smack around sometimes because he has been there, but his way of showing you his love is kind of getting in your head, getting at you a little bit. Tyler Naquin, I've grown really, really close to. That guy he's an incredible guy to be around. He's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen. It's a shame he was hurt, but I'm hoping he's back completely healthy by the time we start again. That would be awesome for me to see. I'm definitely a fan of Tyler Naquin. When I was at IMG Academy, I had Jose Ramirez training there with me. So I'm pretty close to a lot of the guys in the clubhouse. And obviously Carlos Carrasco. That guy is one of the best human beings in the world. And he's in a Clearwater guy, so I see him in the offseason a lot. I love Cookie, man. I'd run through a brick wall for that guy. He is one of the best teammates I've ever had. And anybody that thinks otherwise is crazy.
We'll tell him to come talk to you.
Dude, he's the best. Yeah, seriously. Best teammate in the world. That guy's awesome.
For you, I saw, you and Zach at the softball game with Trevor Bauer. Who would you say was the best wiffle ball player on that field that day?
Dude, Jacob Faria had a wiffle ball swing that was pretty impressive. Faria was locked in, and then Art Warren was dressed like Benny the Jet and just had an outstanding game. It was kind of impressive. It was like he practiced.
Yeah.
I don't know. Zach punched out. I punched out. It was pretty miserable. Clevenger had a good time. Trevor was obviously advocating the Houston Astros issue.
Yeah.
That people have seemed to forgot about since the coronavirus thing has come out.
Yeah, everyone's saying they probably made out the best with all this.
Hell yeah, they did. No one's talking about how they cheated.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't get to talk all that much because I never had any issue. Nothing happened to me as far as playing the Astros or anything like that because I wasn't there. But it still sucks what they did and the circumstances it's done to the game. But it was an awesome time, man. Having Kent Murphy, hanging out with Kent Murphy a little bit here in Arizona, having him commentate that was awesome. Brought me right back to my childhood, and don't know how he liked watching me punch out, but it was fun.
All right, yeah. And final question for you, I wanted to ask you. Besides baseball, that's what we've been talking about. That's why we're talking. I just wanted to ask you, outside of the game of baseball, is there anything that people should know about you? Hobby wise, something else you like to do. When you get that downtime. Outside of baseball?
Big video game guy. Your Fortnite, Call of Duty. I like to fish. I go fishing a lot. I'm a very big advocate of the beach. I'm there a lot because I'm in Florida. Love to travel. I don't know, man. I'm a huge sneakerhead.
Okay.
That's one thing. I'm a big sneaker guy as far as getting it. As far as J's, Nikes, New Balance. I mean, anything.
Are you someone who goes, and buys them on these different sites? I see all my, friends or something, going on these sites, buying them for people. Or do you, go to the store and, actually, I know a lot of people, buy and sell them. Are you someone like that?
It depends, man. I usually buy them because I like them.
Yeah.
And I'll use the apps and stuff with the release dates and stuff. But if I get the shoe and I just don't like how it looks or how it fits on me or how it looks on me, I'll resell it. Usually because I'm one of the guys that gets it on release day, I'll make a little bit of profit on it.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so just thanks for coming on, Logan. Great to talk to you. I know it's a tough time for everyone out there in the, especially the baseball world. So just thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Don't play too much Call of Duty, and hopefully you get in the work without hurting your girlfriend. Don't throw too hard at her. Other than that, just thanks for coming on. Hope to see you on the field pretty soon, and good luck with everything. Within the next few weeks, and hopefully with the season.
All right, man. I appreciate it. You guys stay safe wherever you're at, and I'm sure we'll do this again sometime.
Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully, we can probably see you in New York, because that's where we're at. Hopefully, you guys play a series here this year. If there's even a season.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. You guys
awesome.
Just let me know.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Logan.
Later.
Take care. Yeah, so that was Logan Allen of the Cleveland Indians. Great talking to him. Awesome dude, awesome guy, awesome player, but even, a greater human being, just, getting able to talk to him off the air, and even, now on the air, you get to see how great of a person he is and how down to earth he is and how real he is, which is really, something that, draws people to him. So just thanks for him for coming on. Great talking to him. Someone who, definitely should watch out for within the next few years. Thanks for Logan to coming on. Thank you for all listening. Definitely awesome. Hopefully we get to see him play this year in New York. That would be great to see him in Cleveland, Indians uniform, when he makes a team. We're not going to say if, we're going to say when he makes a team. And when he's playing in New York against the Yankees, that'd be awesome to see. Hopefully, he would get a start one day. Thanks for listening to us. Enjoy all of our episodes, and just thanks for listening and taking the time to listen to all these episodes if you're still listening. And stay safe out there, everyone, and have a good one.